Pagal.
Okay, so first I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Valerie Malecki, and I'm the owner of Totally Tuscany Villas and Tours. And I've been working in the region for about 10 years now, and I live part-time in Tuscany in the Chianti area, and also part-time in North Carolina and New York. So I'm on the East Coast. Basically, I had started with villa rentals and vacations, cooking classes and chef services and fun activities like wine tastings. And then the more and more I developed everything, I realized that I really loved working with groups in tour groups, because it was a great way to be able to bring all of the culture to people that wanted to see it. And it makes it become very reasonable, because if you try to do what we're doing on this tour, it's almost impossible to be able to get to all of these places, to book all of these services. Everybody that I work with, I've been working with for the past 10 years. They are experts in their field and they are authentic. So even though I could have hired, say, one of the more famous chefs from Florence, my chef is from the countryside and he has his secret recipes, and they grew up baking bread, and he was trained at a cooking school in Tuscany. So it just brings you the authentic touch and feel and taste of everything. And another unique thing about the tour is that you get to stay in a luxury hillside villa. And so if you've seen any other comparable tours, you'll see that they're out of maybe a 4-star hotel. A lot of time you get shuffled from different parts of the region, and you're not spending your time immersed in the culture and enjoying the best of the area. So that's what makes this tour different. And so this is my assistant, Bonnie Macchio.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
And she's really wonderful with photography. She's the director of marketing. So she puts together the videos, the brochures, and she's even going to be on the tour doing photographs so that you have this amazing backdrop of Tuscany with portraits of yourself, your family, friends, whoever you're with on the tour. So in order to get started, what I would like to do is put the brochure up. And this way we could go through it, and I'll give you a sense of how everything works. If you have a question while we're doing that, just raise your hand and I'll stop, and this way I can answer it. I don't want to be too overwhelming with the information, but you all should have a copy of the brochure now so that you're a little bit familiar with it. And my goal was to help you understand the flow of what we do, and the quality of the activities, and to learn how everything works. Okay, so we're going to put the brochure up.
Okay, so I'm going to be sharing the screen, so just bear with me. Okay, share screen.
The guy to the left looks
Familiar.
familiar.
Okay, does everybody see the brochure? And Chef
Yes.
is waving? Okay,
Oh,
you're looking at Villa Pozzo, which is our villa for the week. And what happens is that,
Wait, I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
and we have the entire villa as well as the estate to ourselves. So within the villa, there are apartments, and you have basically a bedroom, bathroom, kitchen area, living room. So you have sort of an apartment within the villa. It's not set up like a hotel where you just have a small room. So you do have quite a bit of amenities, which people appreciate on a tour, because sometimes after the tour day, you just want to relax. You want to make yourself a cup of tea and lay down and watch, something. It gives you a nice privacy and nice comfort. But at the same time, on both the first floor and the second floor, we have communal areas. So the villa is actually filled with antiques, original antiques from there. And it dates back to about 1000 or 1100 when the tower on the right was built.
Oh my gosh.
And to the right of that, which you can't really see in this photograph, is a convent. And the convent was related to the church that's in our hillside, which was built in 1000. And because we're in the Valdelsa, this is sort of the valley in the Chianti hillside. And that watchtower was used to see who was coming and going from Siena and Florence, because those were the cities that were warring back in the day. But this is a very important area in the Renaissance, in the Middle Ages. I mean, it's just historic. And I don't know if you can get this feel from looking at the picture, but it's actually the way it was back in the 1200s, because they don't have more buildings that were built. When you're on the property and you look out 12 kilometers as the crow flies, you can see San Gimignano with its towers. And you just have the view of the vineyards, the olive groves. And when we have our welcome dinner, we start with a Prosecco party outside on the terrace, and we have the chef's dinner where Chef Yan and Chef Mauro are going to create a special meal with the fusion of the Tuscan and the Chinese food. And while we're sitting there eating and drinking the wine, we're looking at the vineyards that the wine was grown. So it's a really incredible feel. It's very peaceful, very serene. It's historic. It's very interesting. And as many times as I'm there, as I work at the property, every single time I arrive, it takes my breath away. And I'm sure that that's been the reaction of any of our tour participants. And it sort of just comes over you. You'll notice down on the bottom of the picture, we have a nice pool there. So it's in October. Sometimes it's warm, but typically it's going to be a little too cold to go in the pool. But with a little extra time, you could sit there and relax and read a book or take a hike. So we have the whole entire estate to ourselves. And it's a nice time to enjoy, where you could be alone or you could be with the other guests, however you feel. As you look at the villa, the center part to the left of the tower is part of the main villa. And then coming to the left, we have the chef's kitchen, and that's the area where we have breakfast every morning. So everybody comes down, you get an itinerary, you know when we're leaving, when we come back, what the activities are for the day. We have a nice breakfast, we have a couple minutes, and then we get onto the bus. We have a luxury bus company from the region, and they do a wonderful job. The drivers have been so amazing and nice and polite with everybody. People were really super happy. And the bus comes to the property, and then we start our day. So this is our base, so that every day we leave from here and then we come back. When we come back, you can retire to your room, or you could play cards and have some wine inside the area. What I like to do is I buy a lot of extra things so that people feel like they're home. So where we are located is in the middle of the hillside. You can't walk to a cafe, you can't go to any kind of store. But in this communal kitchen area, we have 3 fridges, and I buy tons of snacks and drinks and everything that you might want to have. And you can even take stuff to your room. And that's been a lot of comfort for the guests as well, because my point of view in doing this is that I want to deliver to you the most comfortable experience, that anything you need, anything you want is right there. And it's a great base of operation to go from. And people love having to unpack just one time, yet at the same time get to experience all of the region. And the reason it makes it easier is because we're so centrally located between what's called the Golden Triangle. So we are between Pisa, Siena, and Florence. And so whichever direction we go in, it's fairly equidistant. So many times, if you're staying very far north, it limits your activities. We're central, and the way your activities are mapped out keeps a minimum on the transportation and a maximum on your enjoyment. Okay, so a little bit down here, I'm just scrolling on the first page, and you can see we're going to take guided tours of cities. There's Florence, there's Pisa. We also get to enjoy Bocelli's hospitality. I'm friends with Andrea Bocelli's family, his brother, his mom, his niece and nephew. And they they allow us to come in and view Andrea's private museum. And this is not something that anybody can do on their own if they go to their cafe. We do a wine tasting there, and it's very enjoyable. So on our tour, we're starting with a pre-tour in Parma and Venice. So basically, I just want to talk about the flight for a quick second, because we have other tours in May and September, and people were already purchasing their tickets, and we're having some difficulty with the cities. So what happens now is that I always fly Delta, and it's very easy to route either through Paris or Amsterdam, because KLM and Air France have the most flights in and out of Florence. So what Bonnie and I will do as the time comes closer is be in communication with you, where you have the assistance to book your tickets at the best price possible and have everything you need so that you can do a multi-city. You're going to be flying into Venice to start there, and you can fly out of Tuscany. Or if you want to leave, let's say from Rome, you can fly out of there. So we're starting where on October 7th, you would be arriving into Venice. So we have a beautiful hotel, which is on the lagoon in Venice, and we're there for 3 nights. We have daily breakfast at the hotel, and we have one main meal every day. So in Venice, we're doing mainly the dinners, and each day we have a tour. So we have one day of the walking tour with giving us the history. And the next day we do the boat tour, where we go to the islands of Murano and Burano. And so let me just show you. So after we finish our Venice tour, I'm just going to get back to the itinerary in a second, but I wanted to tell you that what happens is we're going to be taking private boats both times that we're there. So we have a private boat tour on one of our days in Venice, and then you have half a day of free time on both of those tour days. And then on the day that we leave from Venice out of St. Mark's Square, we're going to be taking a private river boat. And the riverboat passes the villas that you see here in this bottom right picture. This riverway dates back to the 1600s. And even Casanova, even Galileo had been on this waterway. And merchants from Venice used to vacation at their villas off of this waterway. And that's how they would arrive at the villa. So we're actually going to leave St. Mark's Square, be on our private boat, and pass by all the lovely villas and learn about the history of it. We also are going to have a really nice lunch that day because they serve a nice menu on the boat. So what you see in this picture for our itinerary, when you have time, you could see the details of day by day, how we, how
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are.
if you can mute your microphone so that it doesn't come onto everybody's. Okay, so you see here the gentleman on the left creating the glass. So Murano is the island of the glass, where I actually have my chandelier from a glass factory there. But instead of going to a typical simple demonstration. What our tour leader, Virginia, and I picked was an artistic glassmaker. And this particular place called Barengo actually has art exhibited in Florence in the museum. And it's really the highest level of glass that's created, and it's very famous. So we're going to be taking a special tour. Everything that we do on the tour is always handpicked, and it's always at the highest level. We don't want to do something that's typical and that's easy to do. We wanted to offer you something special. And so what you see here in this glass demonstration is the production of art. And right here, there's on the brochure, it says me, Valerie Malecki. I'm an expert in providing ultimate, authentic Italian immersion experience. And we've been recognized for delivering award-winning travel. So I'm a member as a tour operator of the American Society of Travel Advisors. And my tour was picked to represent all of Tuscany for the travel advisors. And I hosted this tour this past October, and it was sold out at over 40 travel advisors, even during the pandemic, with 2 sold out hillside villas. And this is also the way that I came to know Debbie, because people have seen my work through ASTA, and I've been published with them. And also because I was selected to represent the region, I now work with the Board of Tourism for Tuscany. So the directors in Florence and the executives are working with me because they want for me to help them organize the region and coordinate with them for what I'm doing. And I'm basically, I've worked with people from about 30 different countries, but the American marketing and branding and selection and presentation and the value of what is being delivered is becoming very important over there. And so I just wanted to give you an idea of, why it says the award-winning travel. And here is Chef Yan. And this is the hillside. You could see from the balcony, it's a beautiful view. And that was during sunset, when on the day you arrive in Tuscany, we have our outdoor party. And it's just really relaxing and nice. One thing to note too about this trip is that it is still the countryside. It is still a relaxed type of tour. So you never have any pressure of having to be dressed up or wearing heels or have to do anything special. We want you to be comfortable. We want to keep things simple, but wherever we go, we're experiencing the best quality that you can find in the region. In the middle picture, it shows you, this is the view that you're going to see looking out. And on the right, that's San Gimignano. So we have the pricing and we have everything that's included. There's a single supplement in case you come on your own. Now, in addition to the wine tastings, we also do olive oil tastings. You have a class where you learn how to do tasting and pairing with food. So when you come home, you can impress all of your friends. And we also do a cooking class, and you make 2 homemade pastas, which are amazing, 2 local sauces. We do a hot appetizer, you bake bread. It's really phenomenal. And what's nice is that Chef Yan is going to come in and he's going to use the same ingredients, but create his Chinese version so that you get to have the Tuscan version and the Chinese version, which is going to be really interesting because his level of creativity, especially with Chef Mauro, because everybody loves his personality. He's a lot of fun and he just loves everything he does with food, and he's very creative. So I can just imagine the both of them together, creating really terrific meals and a taste sensation. And so on top of having the cooking class and the wine tastings, we also have guided tours of the cities because of course you want to see and learn about the history of the cities. We go to Florence, Pisa, San Gimignano, and Lucca. All of the walking tours are really enjoyable. Our guide is one of the top guides in the area, and it's very easy to follow along. You get a listening device, and then when we finish the tour, you have free time to explore. So you have time to walk
We
around.
lost your audio.
Nothing was touched.
Your audio's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, at least for us.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I did, nothing was touched, so I'm not seeing that anything's not working. So you always have time, free time in the cities to explore. And what Debbie did working with me on this tour was she wanted to make sure that everybody had the most special things in the tour. So we are even doing the steak Florentine in Florence. And that's really special because we're going to be in the historic part of the city. And we have a lot of really wonderful dinners. We have a medieval city that we go to that my tours have been the only people throughout the history of this medieval city that came from another land and people that don't live there. So when they saw us coming on a bus, they were like, who's this showing up in our city? Because they've never seen tourists come there. But that's exactly what we wanted. And we have an exclusive on this restaurant. And we have a really special meal. And this is in the Lucca area. So it's after the Lucca Day. And we even get to have the Lucca wine, which is delicious. So,
We have
and then,
Sienna's on this, one of the tours too. It's just not listed on the guided tours, but
okay, we'll have to add that. Yeah, for some reason it came off. Yeah, so we will see in Siena, the cathedral, the palio, and all of those areas. So you really have a full week of tours to really see everything, experience it, and it's going to be wonderful. Also, Chef Yan is also giving a gift package to everybody on the tour per room. And I know it includes the knife. We're going to go through more pictures. These pictures here show some of the Chianti vineyards. One of the wine experts for a presentation. And on the right, you see the tasting and pairing class, where you learn all about how to hold the glass, how to properly taste it, and how to pair it. Yeah, on this itinerary, it will give you every detail. So when you have time, because we're also going to Volterra. Volterra is a really wonderful city that most tours don't go to. It's not typically a tourist city, but the film Twilight was filmed there, so it started to become more popular. Also, it's a really interesting medieval city because they always stayed to themselves. They never went on the side of Florence or Siena. And so they have a lot of food, a lot of recipes and way of life that's a little different from other areas in Tuscany. So, you know, you'll get to see how all of these different areas in Tuscany change. And you'll get to try the food in different areas and try the wine, and you really become an expert yourself once you do that. And even while we're driving on the bus, you get to hear from Virginia stories of how she grew up in Tuscany, different things, how they eat, where they go, what they do, the stories of the cities, and it's really enjoyable. And on the last page, we have pictures. These are the travel advisors from October. I mentioned to you that we had 2 sold out villas. And even though it was at the time of the pandemic, same, with now. What made it good, and for us not to have any problems, was the fact that we have our private villa. So we're not staying in a hotel where we're really mixing with other groups of people. We have our private bus. We have outdoor tastings a lot. And like this one, this indoor room was a special room that was prepared for our tour. So we are not ever in a public space mixing, and everybody there is very good with all the regulations. So even the bus getting cleaned down every day, even at the villa, and having our own place. So even though the pandemic was still sort of in swing, we didn't have any major changes and we didn't have any problems and nobody had any issues. In order for people to be able to fly home, they needed to have a negative COVID test. So I actually brought the doctor to the villa with his team, and they tested everybody on the last night who was leaving the next day, and all the paperwork and everything was done there. And they even lowered the price. Because I'm bringing multiple tour groups into the region and I work with the tourist board, I get a lot of services and a lot of assistance for whatever we need. I wanted to show you, this is one of the bedrooms in the villa. This is the dessert, the tiramisu. And on our last tour, we had a bunch of them and I sat and finished them because it was so delicious. It was terrible. But when I see the picture now, it reminds me of that. These on the right, it kind of looks like ravioli. It's actually tortelli, and it's a specialty food from the Lucca region. And the meat sauce is a specialty meat sauce that they only make there, and it's all handmade for us. That is at the Ambranera restaurant that we're going to, where we have the exclusive. Here is Chef Mauro teaching the making pasta, fresh pasta. And you also get the recipes. On the right is Donato. He's a wine expert. He manages the wine groves, the vineyards, and the olive groves. And he's also our historian. So he'll give you the whole history of the area. And he does a wine tasting for us. He does the vineyard tour and the olive grove tour. And you'll come to love him as well, because you learn so much about what you're tasting and how to taste it. And the wine is very delicious. And they even have a very low price point of about 11 euros a bottle, which is about $12. And you can have it shipped home. So on the last tour, people were shipping a lot of wine for the holidays back, but it's enjoyable, and you have his tour included. This is the gift here on the left from Chef Yan. This is a picture from the glass factory. And then I also just have different information about the tour for you to read. And as far as the logistics, maybe Bonnie, you can explain how you manage like the documents and your automated system.
All of the emails that I send out will go to everybody in the group. So I have everybody on a list. So anytime we have to send anything important, everybody will get the same email. You can respond to those emails and I will get any kind of messages that you send back. And I am just constantly keeping in touch and communicating with you that way.
So what we do is we coordinate when you, let's say to start, you would leave your deposit. Once you leave your deposit, you secure your spot on the tour. And then we are assigning the rooms as the deposits come in. So if you have a preference that you don't want to have stairs, if you, to put you in the main part of the villa, any specifications, we go through the list as people have left their deposit. And then once everybody has that, when it comes time to order your flight, we assist you with that. and we're both available 24 hours a day. And so whatever information you specifically need, we help you with. The other thing is when you're coming in, you're going to be picked up at the airport. So we coordinate the schedule for being picked up. We also have a massage therapist that comes to the villa on the check-in day and later in the week. And whoever had ordered the massage this time, I think we had some people that ordered another massage for later in the week. It was really wonderful after the long flight, just to be relaxing there. It was really nice. And Bonnie manages all of that as well. So we always make it easy. She will issue you a Square invoice, and that is a payment system where you're not giving your credit card to us. It goes through their system, and we manage everything for you. You have all of your accommodations included, your transportation, as much as a land tour is. So you need to purchase your flight. You have your breakfast every day, which is a really full breakfast. We do an American breakfast. We don't do a European breakfast. So you have much more food that you're used to. And then you have either a large late lunch or a dinner every day. And in between, in case we're back at the villa and you have extra hours, we always have snacks. We always have extra food that you can make a sandwich, have a yogurt, something like that. So that'll give you an idea that you're typically, because so much is included in the tour, and the cheese, the wine, the different meals, even the gelato tasting we have at the Ambranera restaurant. It gives you the chance to have everything that if you want, when you're in one of the medieval cities, to get a panini or a slice of pizza, or you want to buy something at a shop, of course you can. But typically what we like to do is have your needs met so that you don't get there and have to constantly go in your pocket. And everything that we're doing is top quality.
Val,
Yes.
are tips included?
No, so the tips are additional and we give you a range. Now, what happened in our October tour was that we had asked for $10 for the tour guide and for the, and then separately for the chef, the tour guide and the bus, and then separately for the chef. People were so happy with the service that they received that, believe it or not, they were just giving money to give extra to them. And we collected what people wanted to give, and everybody in the group picked a representative, and we presented it to the chef and then to his staff and to the tour guide, because the people on my team, they put their heart and soul into it. And, you know, they just really, so typically it's about 10 euros for the tour guide and tour leader. We're going to do about 5 euros for the bus per day per person, and then 5 euros for the chef, something about that.
That's $10 per guide per day?
No, for the tour guide. So sometimes we have, Virginia is the tour leader and tour guide. Sometimes we have an additional tour guide. So if we have some people that maybe want to go slower, then we bring in another guide to accommodate them, where we have other people that wanted to do more walking and see more things. So we accommodate the group. So whether we have one or two guides, she's basically working, Virginia is our tour leader. She basically works from morning through night. So even after our dinner and when we get back to the villa, if you have questions, she opens an information desk and she gives assistance. So we kind of help you along the way so you know what to expect the next day. Because there are certain areas, like when, in other words, when we go to San Gimignano, that's where you want to get some of your souvenirs. They're all things that are handmade from there, and they have lovely things. We let you know that. The wine at the villa is the best price and quality for the wine. And so even though you go to different wine tastings, and you could always purchase or not purchase, it's completely up to you. We're having the service. We guide you as to, what your options are and what our recommendations are. And people have usually felt that kind of on their own.
Do we have to bring euros then? Because Correct.
Well, what we suggest is everybody takes a credit card, even the smallest vendors, even if you just want to buy something small and get a pizza and a drink. So a debit card or a credit card is easy to use, and you get the best exchange rate. To get euros to have, because you are going to need to have some euros on you, even for the tip and so forth. When you arrive in the airport, there's an ATM. When you're in any of the cities, like even San Gimignano, the next day, they have the larger bank ATMs. So they're not the local bank, it's the international banks. And the fee is usually about $5, but you could take out up to $500. You just need to notify your bank and let them know that you're traveling and what the dates are and that you're in Tuscany or Italy. And what I needed to do was I needed to ask to have an allowance of 1,000 euros per day. So I think they did about $1,200. This way, when I went to take money, I was able to take 1,000. So sometimes if people needed to leave the tip and they only had dollars on them, I exchanged the money for them. So, it's pretty easy to manage. What you don't want to do is go to your local bank and order money, because you'll end up getting 50 cents on the dollar. And you don't want to go to an exchange place, especially in the airport, because the service fee and the exchange rate just eats away your money. And the ATM is the quickest and easiest way to do it. But even if you ran into a problem, like I said, you can just use dollars. So you can bring dollars with you and you're okay. I'll exchange it for you. We even had somebody that they ran out of their euros. They wanted to leave their tip. We just billed them on the Square. I told Bonnie, just bill her on the Square credit card, and she paid it when she got home. It wasn't a big deal. We help everybody with everything that we can.
Okay, Val, I
Yeah.
have a question about vaccinations for
Mhm.
COVID. Is that going to be a requirement for the people on the tour?
No, so it's not a requirement that you have to be vaccinated. So first of all, whether you are or you aren't, you have to have a negative COVID test at this time within 48 hours. So what I've done is I go to CVS or Walgreens and I make an appointment ahead of time for the day before or 2 days before. And usually within about 12 hours, they send you the email of the negative test. Then you have to fill out a locator form. So your airlines that you book has all the updated information and forms. And you can go onto the website anytime and get all the current information. So on Delta, what I did just to double check that I had everything, I went in, I uploaded the locator form. We give you all the information you need to put on that, like the villa address, telephone numbers, and so forth. You use that to check in because you get a QR code on your email, and you use your negative test. That will allow you to check in at the airport to board the flight. Once you have that, that's okay. Now, because we are on a private tour in a private villa with our own bus, we are not under the regulations that people are under being public. So we don't have restrictions as far as, well, you're not vaccinated, so you can't do something. That does not affect us. And
Is there a green card requirement?
no,
for-
not for us, because we are not riding a public bus or public train, and we have the transport to be picked up.
So in their free time, if they want to stop in a cafe or on their own, or stop into a museum or something, then a green card.
Then that's different. So if you want to go into a place on your own, it would be whatever the regulation is at that time. So right now, the outdoor cafe, like literally up to the minute, because I just spoke to Virginia, our tour leader, yesterday. Right now, if you want to sit outside in a cafe or you want to sit inside, both, you need to show your super green card. It's not even the regular green card. And that means you have to be vaccinated. But as far as our tour goes, for everything we're going to be doing, we do not have any limitations.
And what are the, how do you get a super green card in case you wanted to?
So if you are vaccinated and you want to get the green card, I think what you have to do is go onto the Italian government's website and you upload your vaccination and your booster or anything, either the vaccination or the booster has to be within 6 months to be valid. And then you submit it to them and then they'll give you the green card.
And when you say give, so they mail it? I mean, do you have,
It's usually everything's being done by email.
oh, so it's an email?
Yeah, yeah. Even your test, like when we have the doctor come in just to do the negative test, they'll give you a paper by hand, but they also email you the answer. So if you get to the airport and you can't find the paper, you always have it in the email. So you could pull it up on your phone.
How much
Valerie-
does the doctor charge for the test upon departure?
It was only $20, 20
that's
euros.
great.
Yes, because
20 euro?
20 euros. So you figure about $23, $24. And when I was in Greece, I was in Greece in August and again in September, and each time and each island, I had to pay 65 euros, which was like almost $75. And one of the times I think I paid 100 when the doctor came to, and it was a luxury resort. And when the doctor came, I had to pay him 100, which I thought was crazy. That's what Greece is doing. Italy is continuously bringing the cost down. And they also brought the cost down for me because of my work with the tourist bureau. And what I did when I bring the tourists here to this area, I hired everybody within our town and within our region. And people that had not been working and that suffered hardship were given the opportunity to be at work. Even a boy that lives in my building, a high school boy, he wasn't able to be hired, and I hired him to help carry people's suitcases so they didn't have to struggle, and to help clean dishes. And his dad brought him and he had a job and he made money, and they were both so proud of it and excited. So everybody in the area knows that I'm doing that and giving back to the local economy. Even the Bocellis, believe it or not, the Bocellis, Andrea Bocelli's brother, Alberto, brought in their chef, who they had already closed down their restaurant, brought in their chef for me, had the wine tasting and set up a special room for us. And he only charged me a small fee. And just the fact, they didn't even have to do that, but that's how kind they are. And they met everybody and they chatted and they allowed everyone to stay up in the museum and take lots of pictures. So having that presence in the region that I have and the level of work that I'm doing with the local businesses, with the government, with important people there has really made a huge difference. And so it gives you the feeling of belonging and being part of something and feeling comfortable and being totally immersed in this culture and having these people who appreciate that you came there to learn this and that you're bringing your business to them, and they just shower you with, you know, fun and personality and great food and great wine. And it's just a wonderful experience.
Valerie, what happens if for any reason, like this last year, we get surprised and cannot, the trip can't be made for health reasons?
Yeah, so the first thing that we need you to do when you leave your deposit is purchase insurance. Now, recently, usually I purchase Allianz. That's the company I've always used, and I've had very good success with their claims department, and it's very comprehensive. And what happened is recently they updated their insurance to have pandemic coverage. Now, what I know, Debbie handles the insurance, and whatever you choose, you should read carefully to understand what you have. Any deposits or payments you make are not refundable. However, they are transferable. So for whatever reason, if we cannot have the tour because of COVID at that time, we will reschedule it to another time, and then it will just get moved. But considering that the tour that just took place this past October went really well, and the situation was even, you know, more than it is now, I don't foresee that we should have any main issues. But if we do, it's more about rescheduling, or you can use your documents to file for the money back
Thank you.
from the insurance. Mhm.
So Valerie, okay, so we're making a deposit and it's transferable. Worst case, it can't go forward.
Mhm.
Who is saying it can be transferred from tour A to tour B later? Is that you and your company or the
That's
villa?
right. No, it's my company. So I am the tour operator. Okay, I basically hire all of my team and vendors that I've been working with for a long time to do their jobs. And I have the villa that we're renting, and I have the transportation. Then I work with Debbie to bring all of the tour guests in, and it's my company that will transfer you to another tour. We already have 4 or 5 tours. The 5th tour is coming in now for this year, but for 2023, we already have 2 scheduled. So, and then if we needed to move this tour, you would be moved, you know, we would move to another date. So you have options in transferring the tour.
Okay. I'm going to
Just
be
a note about insurance that if you want your insurance policy to cover pre-existing medical conditions and sometimes even cancel for any reason, then some of these companies will want to only provide that if you purchase the policy within 14 or 15 days of when you've put any money down on your trip. So for instance, 14 or 15 days from when you've paid the deposit. So kind of keep that in mind in terms of timeline. And some of those allow you, I don't know, a look-see period, I guess. If you buy the policy, you know, some of them will say, okay, you have maybe 15 days to cancel it if you want. So, you know, there are a lot of conditions and terms with those insurance policies. So the more specific you can state your needs, then the easier it is to look at what those policies provide. You know, granted, insurance policies now are quite expensive, so, you know, don't be shocked.
That's hard.
Definitely worth it. Because even on our October tour, that the tour was comprised of travel advisors. So I would have expected that all the travel advisors had purchased insurance. And a few days before the tour, one of the advisors had a heart attack in Croatia and had to be flown home. She did not purchase the insurance. They lost their money for the tour because you only, if you needed to transfer your tour, and I'm going to have this outlined in the contract you receive, and there's enough of a window where we have time to fill the spot, you can always rebook another tour, okay? But if it's right before the tour and you get sick and you can't go on the tour, then at that time you would lose the money. And that's why you need the insurance. And you never know what to expect. And 3 people had a medical problem that did not make the tour and they lost their money. So that's why, regardless of what the cost is, it's really worth it. And the other thing, in the region where we are at, should you need medical attention, we have a lot of things nearby. It's very easy to get you to a hospital, even by the medieval cities, because it is a tourist region. So it's very easy to get care and things that you need. But in the event that you have a special thing that happens and you need specialty care, you would need to be taken out of that to a main region like Rome or Milan, really, to get that type of care. So, you know, I personally, even that I'm in the business and I fly a lot and I go to different countries once I'm there, I always have coverage from beginning to end. And sometimes, you know, there are policies that cover you for an entire year, and you may want to look at that as well. So just make sure that you read everything that it is.
And take note that Medicare does not pay for international costs.
Wow.
Okay.
Are there laundry facilities at the villa?
There is a 2 washing machines in a building, which is between the villa and down below by the pool. So they have drying racks. In Tuscany. They typically don't have dryers. I have one in my apartment. And if somebody needed something taken care of, I can help them with that. But they could wash what they needed and use the dryers or hang it in the apartment to dry, but there aren't dryers. So on the last tour, towards the end, somebody wanted to wash clothes, but they would have still been wet by the time they left. So just keep that in mind. And I think the most important thing to remember too is you always want to pack layers and things that mix and match, because whatever you get an allowance of 1 suitcase and 1 carry-on, and you want to be able to manage it. And so it's kind of a very casual type of dress in Tuscany. And sometimes it could be really warm in the afternoon, but in the evening it's cooler where you need a sweater or a jacket. So I always like to say to pack smart with layers and things that can mix and match.
Kind of back to the insurance question. Do you recommend putting your airfare then as part of the tour and doing that as one insurance package? Or do you usually insure your airfare separate from your package tour?
I think usually put it together. I mean, you have to look at the insurance and what the pricing is and how you have to see what your options are. Because for myself, I always fly by Delta and I do things within their system. So I don't know how other, you know, how it's working otherwise. And I don't know all your options. I know Debbie has a few different companies and you can look at what that is. I would imagine that putting it together in one policy is probably more effective price-wise.
Okay.
And plus, you'd probably only want to deal with one company because you have delayed baggage, you would have cancellation or delayed flight. There are multiple insurance things that go under the flight, but that would also affect you tour-wise, not getting your suitcase. So splitting the flight from the tour, it would probably not be wise because you wouldn't want to lose any of those benefits.
The only, I guess, note to that is, and it was one of the insurance companies I was talking to, and I think it was Allianz, because Val likes Allianz, you know, she flies Delta and they have a partnership with Allianz. The way that would work is that when you buy your airfare, then you would go online to Delta to buy the insurance, and then you can put it all in together. Now, that may be less expensive than doing it, for instance, if I were to purchase it for you. The only problem with that is if you need the 15-day, you know, the coverage for pre-existing conditions or whatever is included as a benefit with the 15-day, you know, deadline, then you'd have to do it real quick, you know, all at the same time. Because if you buy an insurance policy now and do your deposit, then you'll have some benefits from, you know, the purchase if it was 15 days from your deposit. But in the meantime, you won't have purchased your airfare unless you do that quickly. So if you do it all quickly, I guess it could work. I don't know if that explained it well enough.
Well, and if you're flying in, if you're going to do the pre-tour and you're flying into Venice, it looked like at a quick search, they only fly into Venice once a day. So I guess we're all now gotten somewhat cautious about airlines actually arriving on the time you would expect. And
Yeah, that's why I would suggest to you to look at booking the multi-city and to do it where you're flying into, like, for example, if you flew from JFK into Charles de Gaulle, from Charles de Gaulle, you can purchase a ticket to fly into Venice. They fly into Venice multiple times during the day. They have brand new jets, and God forbid you miss one flight, you'll have another one.
Okay.
And then if you're flying out of Florence, Air France flies from early in the morning till late out of Florence into Charles de Gaulle into the same terminal. You get the American flight to the US.
Okay.
So if you purchase the ticket like that, you could do two things. So what I do to test it out is, let's say my city that I'm leaving from is JFK. I do the multi-city JFK into Venice, and then the next city is going to be Florence to JFK. Do it like that. And then you see the routes. They may route it through Charles de Gaulle or through Amsterdam. Now, when I did it, it came to $1,020. Okay. Then I did, let me go in and out of Charles de Gaulle from JFK, just one round trip. And then add the flight to Venice, add the flight from Florence to Charles de Gaulle. It came out close to the 1,020. I was only saving a few dollars. So in that case, it was worth it to book it as a multi-city in and out.
Right.
But in that case, do you have to collect your luggage and recheck it and do all that stuff?
If you're doing a round trip into Paris and then you're going to go to Venice, then you have to check back in because you have to get your luggage and you're basically leaving the secure area, and then you check back into Venice to go to Venice.
So isn't that a pain in the neck?
Well, I mean, it can be, but whether you go through Munich, Amsterdam, Paris, it's pretty much the same thing. People have pretty much had the same experience. The difference that I find is, at least out of Charles de Gaulle, you have 4 flights going, that if you missed one, you had the others. If you fly United from the West Coast, you only basically have 1 flight on Air Dolomiti through Munich.
Yeah.
And so if something happens and you miss that flight, you don't have that activity coming in. And for me, I think you're better off having the protection of multiple flights. And plus, on Air France, they fly a new jet into Florence, and it's always been very nice. I've always had a good experience with it. And I prefer the Air France to KLM because the fleet of planes that Air France is flying on those smaller hauls is much nicer. And in Amsterdam and Schiphol, sometimes if you have to go to D and you're in A, you have to get there in 10 minutes and it's like a 2-mile walk. And for my teenage daughter, she just started running with her bag and she did okay. But, we don't want to be in that situation. So this is what I do. And I've been traveling into different cities, like into Athens, and then I take Air France through Charles de Gaulle into Florence. And, I haven't had any problems and I like it. And the price was the best price. And sometimes I even picked first class because for $100 more, I was in first class instead of in regular, as far as the intercity flights.
And you mentioned flying into Florence, but if you're doing the pre-tour, can you still fly into Florence and you pick us up, or do you have to?
No, you're going to fly into Venice.
Okay. And,
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you're flying into Venice and you're flying out of Florence.
Right.
Because you don't want to have to take trains. You want to be picked up at the airport. And, we have a schedule because a lot of them, you have like these early morning flights and then they have like mid-afternoon flights. So that's kind of when you get in, and that works out really well too, because once you get to the villa, you get settled into your apartment, you could take the wine tour and the olive grove and walk the property, which is nice. I usually have lunch and drinks for everybody for when they arrive. And then you can order a massage if you like, and you have time to relax before we start having the dinner party. So it's a nice way to start.
Valerie, would you say that again? If you're not going on the pre-tour, where is it best to fly into and out of?
So, okay, so if you're not going to Venice, then you're going to be flying into Florence, and you'll be picked up in Florence.
Is Pisa not a good airport to fly into?
No, it's fine. You can fly into Pisa. That's not a problem. Actually, they started having many more flights than they used to. So you could check Pisa as well. The only difference is in October, they don't have as many flights through Pisa as they do from, let's say, end of May until September.
So are you limiting the pickup?
No.
The transfer to, no, it'll still be either airport.
Yeah, we'll accommodate you regardless of where you come in and what time it is.
Okay. Now,
And-
did you say you were going, you and Bonnie were going to help arrange airfare? Airline, air flight?
Not for the airfare, for if you need help to understand how to book the ticket for using a multi-city. Because so when you select the flight, you have one way, round trip, and multi-city. So if you want to go in one city and out another, you have to select multi-city.
Right.
And just what I'm finding is that multi-city is coming in close to the same as if you did a round trip and 2 extra flights. If you do the multi-city, you don't need to collect your bags and recheck them. They go to the final destination. But when you land, you have to go through passport control. That you have to do. Either way.
Yeah. If it's all on one ticket though, instead of separate tickets, the airline is more likely to protect you in case something happens.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's better to do it like that multi-city because it's just having the bags go straight there.
Yeah.
It's much better. And the other thing too, after a long flight, I have some joint issues and it's very hard for me to get up and start walking and hold a bag and wheel something. And so, if I have difficulty on the international, I use wheelchair services to go through the passport control and get to where I'm going.
Yeah,
So
I do too.
yeah. Yeah, because the joint issues are really terrible, just standing up. And then it's like all of a sudden you've been sitting for 9 hours. I try to walk around on the plane and I use compression stockings, which I recommend for everybody. But to have to get up and go like that is really a problem for me. And so when you're in the wheelchair, they also cannot take off until you're there. So it's a good way if you have any issues to use it.
Yeah. Okay, also there may be some interest in a Rome post trip. So I know you were going to look into, another supplier for that.
Yeah, we're going to be putting that together. Virginia has one of her best friends who was a top guide in Florence, moved to Rome and is now doing the tour guide work there. We just need to get the hotel. We already have the transportation. So we're working on putting that together because we have another 1 or 2 tours that are doing the same. So the most important thing, what we need to happen is for whoever wants to come to Tuscany and also to Venice, that you go on, you make your reservation and you pay your deposit. Because once I have the bulk of the deposits, I can block the room in Venice for us and secure the best hotel. And I can have everything set up. And then after, as far as the Rome portion, that's a little bit easier. So as soon as we have that, it'll come rolling out.
Did you want to mention the hotel in Venice?
The hotel in Venice is called Locanda Vivaldi. And there is a group of hotels. There's 3 hotels. Palazzo Stern, which was a palace. The Hotel Chiara, which is a little bit smaller and not in the main center. And this Locanda Vivaldi is the 3rd of the group. It's a really excellent owner. They have very good quality. And what we were really searching for was that not only the location of where they were, so that if you want to go out and you want to take a walk, you're not going to get lost. And this is something that happens a lot there. The other thing we wanted was to make sure that everything inside was as modern as it could be, because for American tourists, we're used to a lot more luxury than European travelers. And there are a lot of places that may have a great location, but it's very dark and dingy. The beds are very hard. It hasn't been remodeled. So we really took a lot of time to search through the hotels, meet with the owners. And then because as a tour operator, having so much business coming through there, they wanted the bulk of my business. And that's how I was able to get us in there. Because right now, it's really crazy what's going on in Venice. The prices for basic hotels have shot up to 3 times the normal price in most cases. If you go to Venice and try to do the tour of what we're offering here, you will never get it at this price and you will not have the quality. So we've been able to accomplish this in the negotiation, in how we put it together, and in what we're offering. And also the riverboat cruise is very special too, and the history that you learn behind it.
The Locanda Vivaldi is supposed to have been the home of Antonio Vivaldi, the composer, or at least he's stayed there. So I don't know which story is correct.
Oh,
So that's why that's where the name comes from.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. And they have a nice, they open the windows when it's like warmer outside. So they have like a nice sort of cafe area, and they have a rooftop as well. So it's nice to have the rooftop bar, because if you want to come back, but you don't want to sit in your room necessarily, at least you can be there at the hotel and be comfortable. But we think everybody's really going to enjoy it.
Do I remember correctly, there was something about a night in Parma?
Yeah, so when we come off of the riverboat, after we take the ride on the Brenta Waterway, our bus transportation will pick us up, and we are going to go into Parma. So yeah, and thank you, because I forgot to get to that part. In Parma, we're staying at a new hotel, which is City Center. Now, I went to Parma about before the pandemic, and I was amazed because I don't hear much chatter about that city in Italy. And I was really blown away. They have in the city center where we're staying, and this is why we chose this hotel. We didn't want to go into Bologna. We didn't want to be on the roadside. We want to get there, and you have the ability to go to the shops. They have a beautiful cathedral. They have cafes. They have excellent restaurants, but it's a very impressive city. It's really enjoyable, and their food is amazing. And that's why I went there, because I used to stay, if I was flying out of Milan, Malpensa, I would stay at a little Moxie Marriott that's at the hotel. And the people that work there used to tell me, you know, once a month we go to Parma just to buy the cheese and the prosciutto and the Parmesan and the balsamico. And they said, but the meal is incredible. And that always impressed me. And they were right. So I wanted the tour to stop there because the Parmesan factory is very special and it's very historic. And what we're going to do is have lunch there. So they're going to cook with the cheese. And that should be really delicious. And then we do the prosciutto tour. And then from there, we're coming into Tuscany, which is like a few hours on the bus. But
Thank you.
anyway, yeah.
I've been to Parma and I loved it, and went to out in the country to a Parmesan place with the guy, the farmer was making the cheese. Oh my God, it was mind blowing.
Yeah. You know, what the funny thing was, I brought back a wedge and they seal it in, they have the vacuum sealed pack. Well, we used grinding that cheese for about 4 to 6 months on every meal. And it was the best Parmesan we ever had. And sometimes in San Gimignano, you can buy Parmesan that they bring in and they vacuum seal it. It's never the same for what you can get there for some reason. So it's a great experience. And even if you stop in a cafe there and you want to have a glass of Prosecco, they give you a whole plate of sandwiches for free, just for stopping and having the drink. So it's very lovely. I think they have a lot of hospitality. They have a lot of history. Even the cathedral is beautiful.
Valerie, I'd be interested in communicating with any other single women who might be interested in rooming with someone else to avoid the single supplement, or
Sure.
another way to get that eliminated.
Okay. Sure, we could do that. And, you know, here's another option too. If you have friends or family that are interested in taking the trip, you can email the brochure to them and get the word out. Because my September tour was a little lower on numbers. And I spoke to one of the women on the tour, and she said, well, I had recently been on a trip to Ireland. And while we were in the dinner, eating the dinner, I told them about the tour in Tuscany. She says, they want to come. I said, well, let them come. And they got the brochure, and about 7 to 10 of her family and friends booked. And I'm grouping them together in the villa. So if you have somebody that you want to come, another couple or people in your family, go ahead and let them know.
Yeah, also when you leave the deposit, you can always email me and let me know if you have any special requests for the rooming. That way I can make a note of it so that when we're choosing, you know, who to pair in the rooms, I'll let Valerie know. We'll work together on you know, coming up with something based on the special accommodations and who you might want to room with, or if you'd be open to sharing the room with someone. It would help to know that ahead of time.
Okay, yeah, great.
And we even have one apartment that has 1 bathroom, but 2 bedrooms. So that's something where you would still have your privacy of your own room. And I don't like to put 3 or 4
Sounds nice
people in
too.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would work well too. We can do that. Bonnie is really good at assigning things, following up with things. So even any questions, anything you have, we have all of these tour documents. And we also, we started automating our processes. So it's easy for us to handle things. So if you have any changes, if you want to know any details, it's like we can just pull it up. And we work with OneDrive. So even when I'm in Italy and Bonnie's in New York at 4 o'clock in the morning after her son, she has a 5-year-old, goes to sleep. He goes to sleep at 10 and I'm there and it's 4 in the morning. She'll update to what we need. And then I have it in my phone and I can print it out. So we really manage all of that stuff and do all the details for you. So you don't have to worry about things. You know, it's like, we just want you to be there, sit there and have a glass of wine and look at the hillside and say, oh my God, I can't believe this, you know?
So how do we send you the deposit? Where do we send it? And could you send another brochure?
Yeah. So if you can, do you have Debbie's email? Did you receive an email from us yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so why not, we'll have Bonnie write down your information. And
I think Marion, you probably got notice of this tour from Martin's mail list. And so.
oh,
I
so he
could
wasn't
send
on
you the
our list.
brochure.
Actually, I forwarded it to them. Sue Hanson, I forwarded it to Marion.
Oh, okay.
March.
And what you got then, Sue, was from Martin?
Yes,
Initially from Martin, yeah.
yes.
Was it a one pager?
No, I got the whole thing.
Oh,
I've been on two tours with Martin before.
okay. Well, I can forward Marion, the brochure.
Yes, please.
Well, can you just give us your email address now and we'll take care of it as soon as we finish the Zoom. We'll send you the Square invoice and also the brochure.
Sure. You want my email right now or at the
Yes,
end?
go
Okay,
ahead.
right now. Okay, so it's lowercase for both of my names that you're seeing there. MARIONBARNETT @gmail.com.
BRE.
BARNETT.
Say that again.
Okay. Barnett.
Barnett. BARNETT.
Yes.
Okay.
One word.
At gmail.com.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And
Thank
you
you.
said it was capital M or lowercase?
No, all lowercase,
Okay.
no space between the.
First and last name.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is give you the email about the Zoom and it has a link into the brochure, what you have here. And you can print it out if you like. You could save it as a PDF in your computer. And then right after that, she'll send you the Square invoice. And did you want to do both the Venice and the Tuscany portions?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll send you that. Mhm.
Okay,
There's a
thank
short
you.
video too that,
Yeah, we have a
Bonnie has.
promotional video that Bonnie created. We'll send you. Oh, would you like to send it to them, Deborah?
yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it gives you some visual of, the hillside, the area, the activities, the bus and so forth.
Super.
Mhm.
So when would the rest of the fees be due?
It's due about 4 months before the tour. And
Okay.
so when you pay the deposit, you can pay by credit card and there's no fee for the deposit. When the balance is due, we notify you in advance and you could either mail a check for the total and there is no fee, or if you want to use a credit card, there's the 3% fee that we add to it. And some people have wanted to pay the 3% fee. We add it to it and then you get the Square invoice.
Did you say the fee is not applied to the deposit, just the final?
Right. We don't charge you the fee on the deposit, but because the balance is much bigger, we have to add it because I'm not adding those charges into the tour price. I leave it as low as I can for everything that we do, and then give you the option to mail the check.
Yeah.
And even if you want to mail the check in earlier, that we've had people doing that just to get everything out of the way. You know, we have that too, but it's 120 days before that it's due.
And one more question. I know that everyone, when you talked about everybody coming in on different flights and et cetera, am I understanding that you're just, whoever's coming, you're going to pick everybody up at all the different times when they come
Well,
in? Or it's,
usually what we do is we try to organize 2 main pickups, but we don't want anybody waiting more than an hour. So within an hour's time, we group people. And that's like usually the early flights, because what happens, they sort of come in a similar times anyway. And then later we do it. And then for whatever reason, if somebody comes on British Airways, which comes on a different time, we'll have one person come to the airport. I have somebody on standby that makes the trip in to pick somebody up. So we'll accommodate you even if you come much later than everybody else. You know, we pick you up and get you to the villa.
Now, in Venice, we'd be using a private water taxi and not the public water
Oh.
bus, right?
Yeah, and so this is funny because actually we typically start in Tuscany and end in Venice. And so I'm used to going that way instead of backwards. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we're going to, when people come to the Venice airport, yeah, we're going to be taking, I believe we're going to be on a private water taxi to the hotel. Our hotel has their own water taxi. So then we'll be going to the hotel on the water taxi. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
But like I said, we do try to group it together.
If we want to fly into Venice a day early, is it possible to get into that hotel?
Yes. And what you can do is send us an email saying that I plan to, like, even when you get your flight, that you want to arrive at that time. And I can send it for you to the hotel to book it earlier. You know, I'll help you with it because Bonnie can always bill you for that extra night, because at least it's possible that I can get you a lower rate
Great,
and then keep you in the same room that you're in.
perfect.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to do that, and by the way, I highly suggest that, because, you know, when you arrive the day before, even if you just want to sleep, where we're going to be located, it's easy to go out and get a meal and to walk around. And there's a restaurant at the hotel also. And it just gives you that chance to decompress and take a long bath and relax, you know, before you start moving around. So anybody that wants to do that, will help them with the hotel.
So, well, besides booking the hotel, if we plan to do that, will you also pick us up, since you said it's a boat that goes from the hotel?
Yeah, we can do that because Virginia and I are going to be there already.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just nowadays with airfare, it seems airlines, it seems risky.
Yeah. And it's, you know, sometimes there's just a lot of rushing around, and I don't know, just for myself, as I'm getting older, I just find that I like to take things slower, and it's just the way that I do things. So, you know, you just don't want to have the stress of it all.
Is it expected or customary to also tip those people who are involved in the transfers?
You know, I would believe probably a small tip for the water taxi, but here's the thing. Any information like that, we will get for you.
Okay.
So Virginia, our tour leader, and like I said, you're going to love her. She comes with 100% of the information. So she'll say to me, you know what, Valerie, we don't have to give them a tour. We are negotiated for this. This is part of the service we've paid for. It's not customary. Or she may say to me, you know what, like, for example, in our tour in October, we had a particular bus driver. He was so kind and so nice. And we had a giant bus, the kind that comes out of Germany into Tuscany. Well, the man, because everybody wanted to take pictures when we went to that special medieval city for the dinner, and because they took their time, he never complained. He knew every road. He knew the best way to get to every location so that we weren't bouncing around on the bus. And he was really amazing. Virginia said to me, you know, Valerie, I know that we usually give such and such, and this is what we collected, but I think we need to give him a big tip. And I did. And the man was so thankful. So we do, you know, even if it's me that steps up and does the extra, we do that to make sure that everybody we deal with gets what they should. But we'll let you know. We tell you the details of it. I think, though, the main tips that you have come with the driver, come with the tour leader. And then when we're doing the restaurants in Venice, we don't do tipping then, because that's stuff that I take care of on my end with the pricing. It's only when we have our chef Maudo and his team coming in and they're cooking all day and they're doing a special event for us, that's, you know, something we collect, you know, for however many days. And then we give you the idea and you put what you like. And that's how we did it. But it was kind of a smooth process. Nobody had any issues with it so far.
I think I gave Debbie my email and contact information. I don't know if she sent that to you or I have to give that to you again.
I know I had a list of some people that I emailed. I'm not sure if you got the Zoom link from myself. It would have come from info@totallytuscanyvillas.com.
Yeah.
So that's our email. So if
Oh.
you want to respond to that email, if you decide that you want to go on the tour, you just email us back there. And then I can go ahead and send the invoice. So you would just indicate to me, are you doing Tuscany? Are you doing Tuscany and Venice? And then I can go ahead and issue the deposit.
And then
invoice.
it's 2 people.
Right.
But it's good to put your name, address, telephone number, and of course, the email address will
Right.
be
So I
there.
have all of the information.
Yeah.
Some of you, I do already have that information, but you could always just give it to me again so I could check it.
We put it into the Square invoice. And then this way we have it. Yeah, we like to keep everything so we have everything we need to know.
So I think, Avery, I think I gave your information and Lisa's to Val, so Bonnie should have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those names. Yeah. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention, when we are in Venice, because we're doing a half-day tour and you have a half-day free, what Virginia is working on, and she's going to also work with Bonnie on this, is we're going to find cultural activities for you to do if you choose to. There's an additional fee for it, but it's going to be a modest fee of what the cost is. But there are some fun and interesting things like mask making because of the masquerade balls they have in Venice, and just different things. And Virginia was locating these activities, and it's going to be something you can book in advance and pay for on Square and have it ready so that you know that's what you would like to do when you're, you know, when you're there. So we're also going to offer that.
Great.
Anything else? Anyone can think of another question?
When will you have the Rome post-trip itinerary available?
I would say within another week to 10 days. We, you know, just when we start to catch up on things, we have new tours coming in and we have a new golf tour coming and they're also doing Rome. So we're just, you know, we kind of juggle things back and forth, but yeah, we'll have it within another week or so. We'll get everything in.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just, before I book any of the hotels, we do a physical site inspection. And especially in Rome, even if they have all the specs in the right location, sometimes just around the block or around the way, you know, it's not as much of a nice area. So we're very careful about everything. So that's why we're not rushing to just say what it is, but we'll have it soon. It's in the works.
Now, is there an Italy in Florence? I haven't been to that one.
I don't remember seeing that. I think I saw that in Rome. Is that the one you're referring to that's in Rome?
Yeah, there'd be one in Rome.
Yeah.
I've been to one in Genoa and in Turin, but with Florence being a larger city, I thought maybe Italy would be, you know, for someone who had free time to, that was an option to go visit sort of a large market delicatessen kind of place.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could, you know, we'll look into that. And the guide that we have for Rome is really excellent. She's on the level of Virginia. And so they'll coordinate on that. We'll get that information. Yeah.
Okay. I guess one note on air conditioning. I don't know, is the villa air conditioned?
There are some rooms that are air conditioned, but in October, you don't need the air conditioning.
It was, we were in Turin one year and it happened to be, you know, seasonably hot, you know, it's
Yeah.
just kind of an unusual thing. And so the cities seem to have local rules that you could not
You're not
turn on
allowed
the
to.
air conditioning during certain times of the
Yeah.
year, even
It's
if the
true.
facility had it. So, you know, you'd have to rely on opening your window if you had a window to open that wide open, you know.
Yeah, and that's the same in Tuscany. They have that rule after, I think it's like maybe mid-September or something like that. But the
Right.
thing is that the way that it's built, especially in that Chianti countryside, different than a hotel in another area, is it really does stay cooler because everything is closed up in the daytime and you can open up the windows in the nighttime. So I've never had a problem with it. I mean, if it were, you know, in July and August, you know, it's a good question, but by October,
Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully, and hopefully for Venice as well, you know, that it won't
yeah,
be super hot or anything. Yeah.
yeah, no, but that's why it's good to do the tour at the time that we're doing it, because it's not the rainy season. Typically, it's a nice warm afternoon and it's a little cooler in the evening, but it's just much more comfortable. And, you know, so if you are walking and you're getting out, I just think it's a much nicer time to do it.
Mhm. Is there something to do in the evenings at the villa?
Well, some of the evenings, when you look at the itinerary, you'll see that we have a dinner at the villa, and then we're going to have live music. And I mean, you know, we have the areas outside that you could sit and inside. I think because of the activities that we do, a lot of people tended to be resting in the evenings and, you know, kind of headed to relax and be ready for the next day.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're free to, like I said, play cards or, you know,
Cool.
yeah, the pool is there, and just to, you know, sit around and have a drink on the terrace is nice, you know, even in the nighttime. So, yeah. And don't forget, in your apartment too, you're not just like confined to a small, tiny hotel room. You literally have an apartment. So you have a kitchen area, you have a living room. All the like sizes of the rooms are different. And the configurations are different, but typically you have a little more room. So I think that's also what made people want to just sort of go sit down and read a book or relax, you know.
The live music is just on one night, isn't it?
No, I think we have it for 2 nights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what's really nice, it's a father and son duo that play guitar and they sing. What's nice is they do classic Italian, pop Italian. They do kind of country songs that the Italians know that we never heard of. And one of the staff on Maudo's team played the spoons. And so it was kind of fun. I think Bonnie put it in the video.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. It was really cultural. I didn't even expect that. And my favorite was when they played the theme from The Godfather, because that really made you feel like you were in Italy. But that was really nice. So that's why I decided to bring them back for 2 nights, because I just myself found it enjoyable. It was just fun and relaxing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, thanks.
Yeah. Mhm.
I have one quick question about when we turn in our money so we can request some, if we have accessibility issues or something for the villa, do we email you?
Yeah, when you email us, you know, in the response to the Zoom meeting, and you can just reply to that. And you could just say that you would prefer not to have stairs, whatever it is you need, you just put there.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So does that mean there's no lift?
No. There's basically one, when you look at the villa, you see the one staircase on the angle coming in and one staircase going up.
I assume we can get help with our luggage up a stair. if
I'm
they-
going to have somebody there to help everybody with their luggage.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's where I bring in my neighbor to have his job. And he's such a nice boy, you know, he'll help with that. Yeah.
I did see that there is a small elevator in the Venice Hotel. I mean, it's one of these, you know, little European elevators that might fit 3 people. And I think they would carry your luggage up for you there as well in Venice.
Actually, I believe that we have luggage service.
Uh-huh.
So from the airport, we are paying for a service to have the luggage brought to the hotel, something like that. I can clarify that, but I know Virginia was working on that. So I don't think that you have to take it on the water taxi. We have that done.
Okay,
And that's
good.
kind of common in Venice.
Okay.
Anything else? Well, I hope that everybody is excited and wants to join. I think it's a really great opportunity because you have a lot of variety of activities. You're going to be seeing famous places and you're going to be learning about them, and everything is top quality and it's a nice mixture and it's really total immersion in the culture. And I think Chef Yan is going to really add that dynamic touch and creativity to it. And that's going to be really fun to see. And I know that my team in Italy really puts everything into the tour and they really enjoy what they do. And that's really important. They're very passionate about it. And so it's nice to be able to offer that to you because everything about it is special. So I hope that you join us and we're happy to help you. You know, the advantage we have is that whatever details you need help with, we're happy to help you at any time. So, you know, you just reach out to us and we'll take care of it.
We appreciate very much you doing this evening. It was nice to be able to hear the information directly from you.
Great. And you know, you can only give as much as possible in the pictures and the wording and stuff. I mean, the one thing that I would want to impress upon you is that, you know, the prior tour participants said that they expected a lot when they came because they knew it was a villa, they knew it was on the hillside, they knew about the activities, but it was above and beyond anything they expected. And so that has been the general consensus, and we really loved hearing that. And, you know, people were sad to leave, and it's kind of like a transformational journey, you know, because you're stepping back in time and you're enjoying it at a level where it's being delivered to you. You don't have to figure things out, and that's what's nice about it. So I hope that everybody takes advantage to join, and to try to do so as soon as you can so that you secure your spot and your place in the hotel and the villa, and we'll move forward. And then you'll have more communication from us as we move ahead.
Great. Well, I think you did a great job,
Oh, thank you,
Al
Deb.
and Bonnie, and I'm